Hi Crime Stoppers, my name's Dave and today I'm going to be teaching you a trick called Sam I Am. It's an intermediate 3-ball trick. I'm not going to list any strict prerequisites for it, I think that's part of the beauty of it, but I can tell you that if you're already proficient at back crosses and or reverse shoulder throws, then you're way ahead of the game and you're probably going to find this really easy to pick up. I can also tell you right now that I'm really not that good, so there's a pretty good chance that by the time we're done I can teach you to do the trick better than I can. Now, the one other thing I think is interesting about this trick before we dive into it is this. Due to a bad accident, I have a lot of trouble doing tricks with my left hand. I'm much more proficient with my right. If you're like me, you'll probably find this trick very attractive because I think when you get around to trying to learn it, what you find is that it lends itself very well to somebody who's much stronger with one hand than the other. Though, of course, you should learn it both ways eventually. So, with that being said, let's get going.
Your weak hand is going to have to do something in this trick, and I recommend you make it the reverse shoulder throw. The catch you're going to be making is a mildly blind catch, but luckily we've set you up to make that catch with your good hand. Throw your throws about head height, perhaps a little bit higher, right near your temple, and spot it as it's going by your temple over your shoulder. You're then going to catch it with a cradled hand near your back. The throws may tend to brush your arm or your back when you start, but as we go on towards teaching you the rest of this trick, you're eventually going to be turning 90 degrees towards your throwing hand, and that may actually clear some room and make it easier to avoid that common problem. Observe this pattern from the back as well, so you can see the position of the catching hand and the entry of the ball by your temple over your shoulder. Continue practicing this catch with one ball until you're comfortable with it, because you're going to be doing it a lot. As you gain comfort, increase the rate at which you throw your reverse shoulder throws and work up to where you can do solids on that one side. Now do as I say and not as I do. You'll note that my throws sometimes are going a little high and are flaring out to the side instead of straight over my shoulder. The back cross is a throw that most of you are probably familiar with and have tried at one time or another. Until you get used to it, it can be kind of awkward. So luckily we've set you up so that you're making that throw with your good hand, and the catch, which is relatively simple assuming a good throw, is happening with your weak hand. Don't stick your arm too far behind your back. Bend your arm at the elbow, swinging your hand up your spine. If you do it right, the ball is going to again pass over the opposite shoulder, about head height, kind of near your temple. Lots of people when they're learning this have trouble getting the ball to come over the shoulder to the front. But again, as we go forward, what we're going to have you do is turn 90 degrees towards your catching hand, and this will help the ball get over your shoulder and give you a little bit earlier vision on it. Again, as you gain comfort, increase the rate of these throws until you can throw solids on one side. Hang in there, we're almost to the cool part. Now's where it gets interesting. We're going to combine the two tricks you just learned, throwing solid reverse shoulder throws with your bad hand and solid back crosses with your good hand. That sounds messy, and it is a little bit, but one of the things we're going to do which will make the trick look cooler and perhaps be easier for you is we're going to turn in a circle while doing this. Pretty much with each pair of throws, you're going to turn 90 degrees towards the hand that is throwing the reverse back crosses. At least for me, I found that that little bit of turn actually made it easier to get both throws to go over my shoulder. Do pairs of throws out of a cascade with the accompanying turn, and then go back into a cascade until you're ready to run the trick. You may not turn exactly 90 degrees, but turn too little and there's no point, and turn too much and you'll get out of control.
Now, one common mistake that people make when they're learning this trick is they think that perhaps the trick would be easier if they were to use pit vipers instead of balls. I understand this, it makes all the sense in the world, and I certainly made the same mistake, but I would probably shy away from it if I were you. I tried it, but the pit viper latched onto my neck, and sadly I was killed. So really, stick with the balls, I would say. What? Now, most of you watching this video are probably better jugglers than me, so once you got the hang of it, this probably turned out to be pretty easy for you. Hopefully you're enjoying the trick and you're thinking about where you could go next with it. There are certainly some more advanced versions of this trick that I can describe, but I cannot do for you, and I would love to see some of you do it at a future festival. It certainly seems to me there's no reason you could not do this trick with 4 balls if you did it in a synchronous manner. At that point, it's not really that different than doing like a 4-ball wimpy pattern or crossing pattern. It's just they happen to be crossing around your body. So you'd be throwing left hand over your shoulder, right hand over your other shoulder at the same time as you turn, and turning and doing pairs. And it would look much cooler than me sitting on an ottoman doing it like this. You could also, in concept, do this trick with clubs. A lazy over your shoulder is going to serve the same role as that reverse shoulder throw, and a back cross is a back cross. It's going to be a little bit awkward, I suspect, because as you turn, the angle of that incoming club is going to be a little bit tough to get used to. But again, I'm sure some of you are up to it, and I'll look forward to seeing it. So as we're about ready to wrap up, there's still this elephant in the room, which is one of the reasons I liked this trick so much, and hopefully you're getting the same feel, is that it works very well if you have one hand that's much stronger than the other. And all the progress I made during this tutorial was all going in one direction. You should learn it in both directions. If you're anything like me, that's going to be pretty painful when you go in the other direction, but if you think about it, by the time you're done, you'll be pretty fluent at throwing both reverse shoulder throws and back crosses with each hand, and you may find that along the way you kind of learn to run both of those tricks as well. So I'm working on it now. It's not pretty, I'm not putting it on camera yet, but I would recommend that everybody learn the trick in both directions. I hope you enjoyed this, I hope you learned the trick, and see you at a festival someday.
I do not like green eggs and